Alright guys, Scrappy Huke and I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. The CDL returns this evening. OpTic Texas will be playing with Huke in the starting roster. Officially confirmed by OpTic Texas last night that Pred is gone, but the circumstances around this situation still raise some serious questions. Pred's affiliate has been removed from Twitter, and OpTic have unfollowed him, it seems, on both of their social media accounts. This situation is getting more serious by the day because the question yesterday was a temporary removal from Pred, potentially Huke coming in for the short term. The reaction today says the opposite, as in a permanent departure may well be a realistic possibility. Why precisely after winning the World Championship just a few months ago? We have lots to discuss today. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. First of all, iLLeY tweeted this yesterday. He did confirm on stream he was just baiting around. So yeah, presumably iLLeY to the CDL isn't happening yet. But you know, what we said yesterday on the potential teams that might be considering iLLeY still stands. It just seems that making a change 1 week into a season is pretty rarely done, and it's, you know, required some extenuating circumstances for OpTic Texas, again, for this to actually be happening. If iLLeY is going to get signed somewhere else, you'd imagine, you know, January would probably be the earliest you'd expect some of these other teams to start to make some changes, and if iLLeY can keep performing well in challenges as he has done, he's obviously going to be in those conversations. But yeah, for now that does not seem to be precisely the case. And Shotzzy, again, understandably frustrated at what's going on, right? Because last year they finally got a decent year. Now, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows last season. They had their ups, they had their downs. Major 3, they won emphatically. They won the World Championship again. But the couple of years before that were not precisely disasters, but in many sense not far off. I mean, what happened during Vanguard with the iLLeY thumb injury? Then he was out, then he was coming back, but he wasn't fully healed. Then the next year they ran it back with a roster. Scump retires, Dashy's drops, Dashy comes back in, then they get Huke because they can't get Pred. Of course, notably, they tried to buy him out of Surge for loads of cash. Surge said no. They got Huke instead for the rest of the season. They did okay. A couple of second places, no victories. They bring in Pred. It upgrades the roster. They bring in Kenny. It upgrades the roster. Ghosty, I think, is phenomenal, but, you know, at the time and maybe still today, Kenny was the right fit for what OpTic needed at the time. They've gone on to win the World Championship last year. But we're back to normality, it seems, with OpTic this year, which is chaos internally in that camp. Now, we know that OpTic, they look after their players, but, you know, we do have our concerns on what this situation currently is looking like with Pred. And as Shotzzy says, every year there's something like this career has been a movie. At OpTic, they decided, you know what, after all the speculation on the timeline that Pred's getting benched, he's dropped, or whatever's happening, they decided to confirm it. Here's Huke, the nuke, obviously, and they then tweeted this out yesterday, Friday the 13th, that's today. They play tonight, and maybe somewhat poetically, the team that they play is the organisation that Huke and Pred both have played for over the last couple of years. But yeah, here we are from OpTic, confirmation, Shotzzy, Kenny, Dashy, and Huke. That is the roster of 4. As I say, lucky, not lucky precisely, but the fact that Huke was even available here, given that he looks like the best player in challenges, and we know has been a good fit with some of these players in the past, goes to show that maybe they did get kind of fortunate when OpTic looked back on this season, because, you know, Huke could easily have been on a Pro League team. He could easily have been signed somewhere else already. And then, like, what would they do if Pred was gone and there was no Huke available? Like, who do they get as their other option? I mean, obviously, Johnny's been frying in challenges. So has, you know, let's say a guy like Capsule maybe. But it's like, that doesn't hit the same on paper as Huke the Nuke, right? Especially given the experience these guys have with those players. And as Kenny says, the Nuke is back. Now, this implies to me a lot of the reaction from the OpTic guys. No comments on the Pred situation, first of all. You know, they could easily say, if Pred was dealing with a family situation, like, look, AG's got to step out, wishing the best for him, Huke's going to come in for them. Nobody has said anything like that. It's just been radio silence on Pred, and, oh, the nuke, you know, Huke's back, right? So that's, I think, concerning for the Pred angle. But also, their scrims must have been going quite well. I think that's the takeaway for me, is that Huke's been in their practice for the last couple of days, and according to sources, and not even really just sources, but just general comments on stream over the last 24 hours, like, yeah, Huke and scrims has been going pretty well. Huke then tweeted yesterday, hashtag green wall, 18,000 likes on this one, 1 million views. So, yeah, OpTic still got the, well, the clout, I suppose, when it matters, and it's OpTic Huke officially now with the OpTic affiliation link back in play. Now, this is where the controversy really began last night, because it was noted that Pred has no OpTic affiliate anymore. So his hashtag, or his tick is gone, and then his affiliate OpTic thing, like Huke has here, which links you to OpTic, that's gone as well. Now, of course, there was some speculation initially to say, oh well, this is probably no big deal. It's just that, they have to pay more to get more affiliates, which is true. Like, you've got to pay Twitter as an organization to have more affiliates or whatever. And they've just moved it from Pred to Huke, and, that's what they do for the amount of, they don't want to spend any more money, especially if it's actually true that, Pred owes them some money, right, as was speculated on yesterday. We'll discuss that a bit more detail in a second. But that was the initial thoughts, like, okay, maybe this is no big deal, Pred's just stepping out for the time being, and, for now they're going to hand over the affiliate thing to Huke. But I think even when Dashy was dropped from OpTic, I'm pretty sure he still kept his, affiliate and tick on Twitter, because, OpTic usually want to be quite clear. They're like, hey, yeah, this guy's still part of the org, we've not got rid of him, he's still part, we're still wanting the best for him, so, it just, perceptions matter, right? And the fact that OpTic are showing this for Pred is concerning of Pred's future within the organization, especially when, if you actually go to the OpTic page and look under the affiliates, they have tons of affiliates, right? Like, obviously, Hex, I don't follow all of these guys, so forgive me, but look, these are the OpTic affiliates that we have, and there are plenty of them. So, would one extra one really cost them any more cash to keep Pred around? Like, I don't really think so. But intrigued to your thoughts on that in the comments. And then when it goes next level, of course, is the fact that Twitter follow check, or whatever these websites are, you can find this stuff, and you can also just go on OpTic Texas's page and have a look at this. But it turns out that OpTic Texas and OpTic themselves no longer even follow Pred. Now, I'm assuming that they did at some point. Like, for example, if you go to OpTic and you go to their following, they follow 61 people. You scroll down there, they follow quite a few accounts, right? And some partners, some other players. And look, you can see they follow Kenny, they follow JP, they follow Zinni. Obviously, Skump's probably going to be on here, right? Shotzzy's on here. I imagine Dashy, we're going to see him in a second. Karma's here. So, they follow everyone. Here's Dashy. Here's Formal, for example. Here's OpTic Texas. So, they follow the whole team, as you'd expect them to, but there's no Pred on there anymore. And it's the same thing if you look under OpTic Texas, you look at their following, you go through their list, and it's the same type of story. You've got all of the players on the starting roster. Kenny is here. Obviously, Zinni's back at it again. JP. Even they've got, Willie Johnson here, right? Big time. Some of the TST boys. And we'll find Shotzzy, we'll find Karma, we'll find Dashy, and we'll find, the entire starting roster, as you'd expect. Here's Scump as well. But there's no Pred on this list we've just mentioned. So that's obviously a question, right? Because if they'd only just removed his Twitter affiliate because they don't want to pay for it, basically, I don't think that explanation really adds up, when it definitely seems like they've unfollowed him on Twitter on both counts. So to me, this can only mean one thing, that Pred is no longer affiliated with OpTic. I mean, what is the other conclusion here? The way that the players are talking about it is as if this Huke change is basically permanent. But that would be something kind of remarkable. Like, what would it have taken for Pred to get basically dropped overnight from the org, as we speculated on yesterday? Ghost of Hope, he has some sources, definitely on the leaks for future Call of Duties, but he definitely has sources behind the scenes as well. So I don't know whether he says this out of information or out of speculation, but he does say this: he ain't coming back, man. So with all of this developing last night, people then started to wonder whether this situation was more serious. So we talked yesterday about, it seems like Pred is in some debt to a number of individuals in the community, gambling related issues it seems that Pred's been suffering with over the last couple of years. There were lots of tweets into the timeline yesterday implying exactly that. And if that's true, it's a very big deal, in the same way that, of course, Maniac, he went through rehab with OpTic for, an addiction that he had. Obviously, there's been some speculation maybe OpTic could run the same type of thing with Pred to, help him on the journey to recovery, I suppose, would be the implication there. But the fact that Pred's just gone, it seems, implies this must be something very serious, because we know that OpTic look after their guys. So this is when the speculation has come to whether, as we've seen in other sports and esports as well, players betting on their own games or something else. Now, this is just speculation. I've not seen any concrete evidence that this is the case, but I think you can understand why people are taking that leap, right? They're seeing, obviously, what's happened over the last couple of days, the rumours on what was the real reason why Pred was gone, and then obviously the developments last night of getting unfollowed by OpTic and seemingly gone from the organisation entirely. You know, people are going to discuss, hey, this must be something else. I'm afraid he bet on his own games, Pred was playing so slow, and look, as I say, there's potentially nothing in this at all, but it must be talked about, right? Just because people have been talking about it. These were Pred's player cards last year. What, you know, one of the speculations going around the community right now is that, look, Pred won Major 3, and, you know, we believe that a lot of the money that he was winning from these tournaments was getting, you know, flitted away on certain bets or parlays, whatever. And, you know, if he was still in debt maybe at that point, then, you know, people are speculating like Major 4 was a massive outlier for Pred individually and for OpTic. Let's not forget when they lost to Boston that series. Now, I really, really don't want to believe this, but I can see why people are making that, you know, connection to say that some of those results during Major 4, I mean, like, they won Major 3, they won champs. They were atrocious at Major 4. Like, you know, it was a big question as to why at the time. You can understand, given what's happened over the last few days, why people are making the connection to say, look, maybe there was more to that saga than meets the eye. And obviously, if that's true, then Pred ain't coming back. And, you know, like, he's not only coming back because OpTic will not bring him back, he's not coming back because the league's going to ban him. And maybe there's further implications too. So, yeah, I don't know if that's actually true or not. I don't really know if anyone actually does know. But if the league knows, then they might not want to talk about it. It's, yeah, it's a tricky one. The conclusion is Pred's out of there. He's not coming back anytime soon, it seems to me, for whatever reason. And it's a real shame. I mean, it is a real shame. But at the end of the day, for OpTic, it might work out because apparently over the last few days, their practice with Pred wasn't so good. I mean, Shotzzy literally said it after they won the series against Cloud9. Their practice has not been good, not been at their standards, and you can imagine that if these things have been known by the OpTic players recently, then not only was that probably affecting Pred, but also was affecting the rest of the team, you would well imagine as well. So, you know, all those things adding up shows the team was not in a good spot, inside and outside of the game, and with Huke, Shotzzy's implication is they've been playing it very well and potentially frying. This is the best they've played so far in the game, is with Huke now in the roster. Doesn't especially surprise me. And this tweet here was made by Dashy a good couple of hours, like, you know, 2-3 hours after Huke initially tweeted it. And the time that, you know, Dashy tweeted this would be about the time that OpTic would have finished their first set of scrims. So some people are just suggesting that after they fried in their first set of practice on the day with Huke, then Dashy was obviously tweeting this out. Into your thoughts on all this in the comment section below. It is a challenging story for everyone in the COD scene at the moment. But let's talk about what it means for this weekend. Because OpTic played 2 games. And as I said earlier, they play the Vancouver Surge, the organisation that Pred and Huke both played for over the last couple of years. These are today's games. So the first game is Thieves versus Gentlemates. Gentlemates have started 0-2. Thieves have started 2-0. Of course, Gentlemates on paper, they've got some potential in there, but they've not shown it last weekend, and Thieves are the best team in the game. So that should be a foregone conclusion. Cloud9 Rocker is fascinating to me, because Cloud9, they need to win this series. Yes, Rocker, I think, might be based out of Texas, so presumably from a server perspective, it still might be a challenge, but if Cloud9 are as good as they want them to be, as they think that they potentially could be, they have to win a series like this, or at least be very, very competitive and take it Game 5, Round 11, because if they don't, you know, I think there's more to it than ping at that point. Like, the team just isn't good enough, you know? Like, if you put Thieves on 35 more ping per player than Rocker and you had them play, yeah, sure, they'd be losing some gunfights they would otherwise win. But I think you would still see Thieves particularly, you know, playing very competently in that series. If we don't see that for C9, it's a problem. Heretics play Boston, that's also pretty fascinating. But in last game of the day, OpTic versus Surge to determine whether OpTic with Huke are the real deal after what we've seen over the last couple of days. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.
Oh yeah, tell me when y'all play this. That wasn't y'all's like comp.
Who?
Us.
You say me? Our team?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna speak on anything.
What?
I was not gonna speak on anything, bro.
That is crazy.
Okay, no, you guys. I'll give it to you. Yeah, no, I'll give it to you.
Yo.
But AG,
What do
what
you
the
mean?
fuck?
Like when you play with, when you play with Kyler, or you play with AG?
No, just in general.
I mean with AG, you guys are getting fucking ran. So.
What the fuck did I come back to?
But he's asking, bro. This guy starts asking me if you guys played us the best.
Yo, be honest, Ernie. Whenever you guys
Bro,
see
my
it,
question,
like,
honestly.
whenever you guys see me, are you guys like?
But
yo,
to
we
be
need
fair-
like 3v1 this guy.
To be fair, it happens the most.
Trust me.
Bro, Brandon.
When I'm
you
playing
are
teams-
awful, bro.
That's what I was waiting for. Like this guy's delayed right now.